What's up, everybody? This is Quet, and in this video, we're going to be introducing CSS into the code that we've created so far. I'm going to show you how to link our CSS file to our HTML file, and also how to select different HTML elements. So to get started, we need to create a CSS file. You can do this either using a terminal or using your editor. If you're going to use a terminal, just touch. We're going to call this style.css. If you're doing it with the editor, you can just come over here, click the button if you're in Visual Studio Code, and just create a file here and give it a name, style.css. So once you've done that, we need to actually link this file to our HTML. And in order for us to do that, it's actually pretty simple. So we're going to come here to our head, and in between our head tag, under our title, we're going to create a new HTML element called link. So we have this link tag. It is a self-closing tag, so we don't have to worry about creating a closing link tag. So you have your link tag, and there's two attributes that you really need to worry about. That's href and relation. So href, pretty much kind of the same as we've used for our anchor tags. It's kind of pointing exactly where to go get this file. Um, so our style.css is in the same exact directory as the index.html. So all we have to do is type in style.css. And then we have our relation, and with CSS, you always put style sheet. So we have that. Just put our closing angle bracket here and click save. And now we should have our CSS linked up to our HTML, and we should be able to see changes when we edit our CSS file. So in order to see that this is actually working, let me show you how to select the HTML element. So every element in this HTML file can be selected and changed with our CSS. So well, inside of the body. So we have our body here, and we have headers, we have um, H4 tags, we have sections, we have images, we have paragraphs, H1. So just different tags are here, right? So all of these tags are selectable in CSS. Right now, just to test to make sure that we linked our CSS correctly, I'm going to change the background color of the page to blue. So right now it's a white background, which is by default. We're going to change that to blue, and this will be your first time selecting a CSS, HTML element using CSS. To do so, we're going to type in the word body. We're going to use these curly brackets here and click enter. This is kind of the convention for CSS is to type in exactly what you want to select. Once you've done that, you want to use these curly brackets, and then you write your CSS code inside of the curly brackets. So for background color, we're going to do background dash color, and in the colon. Um, this is how you select specific things that you want to make changes to. So we want to change the background color. If you want to change, if you look here, there was a ton of different things that popped up. We started typing in background attachment, background clip, background image. There's a lot of different things that you can change, and your if you're using Visual Studio Code, it'll also pop up with a bunch of suggestions that you can use. Here, we're going to use background color, going to use blue, and we're going to put a semicolon. So this body is saying what HTML element we want to select. This background color is saying what exactly we're going to be working on, what we're going to be doing, and this blue is the same. We're changing the color blue. And then you always put a semicolon. If you don't put a semicolon, if you didn't put a semicolon here, it's still going to work. It's going to run. But if we had a second line where we wanted to do something like change something a little forward here, but we want the color to be red for text. You see we get this little squiggly line here. It's not going to work. It's wondering what's going on here because we don't have a semicolon. So at the very least, the last thing inside of each set of Curly brackets need to have a semicolon. Everything up to the last thing. Just to be safe, just put a semicolon in of all of your lines of CSS. But anyways, we erase that, we click save, we come here and we refresh. Okay, cool. So the background's blue. We know that our CSS is linked. Everything's good to go. We can continue with this video. So we don't want the background to be blue for our video, so we're actually going to get rid of that. But we've learned something here. We've learned that we can select the body tag and we can make changes to it. So let's explore that a little bit further. If we were to come and use, let's say, the section tags, because we have three sections here, right? So we have three sections. Let's say we want our sections to have a background color of purple. Cool. So we want all of the background to be all the section background color to be purple. So if we do a refresh here, all of the sections have a purple background. Let's say we don't want the black text. We want the text to be, I don't know, we want the text to be red. So in order to do that, we'll say color. So background color is meant to represent the color of the background of the page or the section, the div, whatever it is. Color is meant for text. I believe you can also use text color. You can't. So just color. Color is meant for the text color. So if we put red here, we give that a save, refresh, we'll see that the text color has turned to red. Now you'll notice that these links here, the for the movies, actually didn't change color. They're not considered text. So the the H1, H2, those tags, those are considered text. The paragraphs are considered text. These links for these list items are not considered to be text. So if we come here, look at our code, all of these are list items wrapped around anchor tags. Those aren't considered text. So let's say that we wanted to select those. We would have to actually write section again, and then we'll write a uh, color red. So refresh here, and we see that now we have the anchors are also red. So this takes it a little step further. We're saying, hey, we want all the text to be red, and then it comes and it's like, okay, all the text red, and it's like, oh well, we actually also have these anchor tags. We want the text representing those to be red as well. So you take it a little step further and you select inside the section. There's an anchor tag. I want it to be red. And we actually don't want that for this project, but I just wanted to show you exactly how you could, if you ran into an issue like that, what would you do? This is what you would do. Um, but right now, I don't think this quite makes sense for our project here, to just change the background color to purple and change the text to red. So let's make some more changes, right? So we have that going on. Let's erase it. And there's a there maybe we don't want all of it to be purple, right? Like that doesn't make sense. Why am I making it all purple? Let me make three different colors, right? So how would I do that? Well, this is where those classes and IDs that I taught you about in one of the previous videos make sense. Classes and IDs are both selectable. Uh, select there you can select HTML elements based on class and ID. So if I was to come and say I want the favorite Marvel movies to be red, let me see, let me copy this. Cool. So I want this to be red, right? So I will put a dot. Dots represent classes inside of CSS. So dot and a name is gonna say, hey, somewhere in the HTML document, there is at least one element with a class of whatever it is. Find that and find that and any other elements with this class and make these changes. So right now, our code is looking for something called favorite Marvel movies, all elements of that class name. Remember, I said that multiple elements can have the same class name. So we only have one inside of our code, but there could be multiple, right? So we have favorite Marvel movies, and let's say we want to change the background for that one to be red. If we save that and do a refresh, we'll see that that's the only element that's red. And let's say we want the movies that you're looking forward to be blue. Well, we go into the HTML, we find the section with that name or whatever element, and it's looking forward to is to the class name, with the dot, looking forward to, and we're going to change the background for that to blue. All right, give it a save. So we have that in blue, and so this allows us, instead of selecting all of the sections and giving all the same color, we're selecting very specific ones and calling them out by names because they have classes in them. So far so good. Um, so we have that going on, and we can do the same exact thing with IDs. So if I come here and look for, okay, I have this ID of future here, right? So I have an ID of future, and let's say I want to change the text on that from for the H3 at least. I want to change that from black. I want to make it something else. Let's say red. We'll go with red to keep it simple. Um, I can actually just use the pound sign here and then future. So pound signs or hashtags represent IDs. So you put future, you put color, change color to red, put our semicolon, and when we refresh, we'll see that the text is now red because you selected this very specific ID. And of course, we could also just do that by if I'm gonna comment this out and change the color here to red. So it's gonna stay. It's gonna do the same exact thing. Um, you could do either or, but since that element has both a class and an ID, um, yeah, we could just use either or. As far as which one is preferred, um, I would say just stick to using classes. So like in this situation, I would have wrote this code inside of the class element that I'm doing. But if I had something very specific where I had multiple things with the same class name of looking forward to, and I only wanted one specific element to be a little different, then that's when I would reach for the ID and say, hey, look for this ID. There's three elements with the same class name, but I want this very specific one to do something a little different. That's when I'd go for the ID. Otherwise, I'd probably just stick to using the class convention here. Also, something else very important to point out here. You notice that this text turned green and then some weird characters has popped up. These are called comments. So inside of CSS, you can leave comments, which allows you to tell yourself as well as other developers exactly what you're looking to do here or why you did something. It can also just you have some code, you're working on it. You need to have it not work for now, but you don't want to delete it or move it or anything. You can just kind of comment it out. What comments do is it allows you to write text or code that only humans are going to be reading, and the computer or the program or an interpreter or whatever it is just completely ignores it. And the main purpose for having comments is just for human interaction and being able to leave notes. So let's say um, I'm changing this background to blue and nobody knows why this background is blue. I could say changing to blue because of notes here and maybe have a link somewhere. And then I will close that out using the asterisk and the forward slash. So for CSS, it's forward slash asterisk, whatever note you're gonna write, asterisk forward slash. And that leaves a comment. So a quick way to do it inside of Visual Studio Code is just to select whatever lines you want to have commented. You can see here that I didn't even select this whole line as part of it. That's fine as long as if part of the line is even selected, it's going to show up. You can use command forward slash, and that's going to comment. It's going to toggle commenting and uncommenting for you. Yeah. So also, I didn't show this inside of HTML. HTML also has comments, so you can say exactly why you made something or you left something. So, for example, this banner, um, I'm going to use the command forward slash to make a quick note. Um, I needed, I'm going to resize this. To need to resize this. What this allows me to do is it allows me to also just leave a comment, just like I said with the CSS. The same concept, just a different look. Instead of HTML, it is a open bracket, exclamation point, dash dash, then whatever comment you're gonna leave, dash dash, closing bracket. It's a little annoying. It's a lot going on here with this comment. I'll admit that HTML has the wildest comments of any language that I've seen so far. With JavaScript, they also have the same comments you saw with CSS, but they also have the double forward slash. Python and some other languages use hashtag. I think I've even seen like double semicolons on languages like Clojure. And then HTML is just like write 8 characters to leave a comment. But anyways, I digress. That's besides the point. Those are comments that I've I've shown you comments in HTML and CSS. I've shown you how to select elements by tag name, which we did with the body element and the section element, and I've shown you how to select elements by class name and ID, which gives you further control over exactly what you're going to be changing. And so we haven't done anything too meaningful for what we're working on so far, but we just kind of have to get these fundamentals down a little bit to kind of move forward. So, there's going to be another video after this, of course, but I will suggest that you go ahead and just play around with this code that we've written, and just uh, mess with other elements, create more class names, create more IDs, and just select things, or even make a whole new smaller, HTML page, and just practice selecting elements, selecting classes, and just getting a hang for it, changing the background color, changing the font color, and the next video will be out shortly if you're not watching this and it's already out, and we'll go more in depth with more things that you can do. So with that said, this is the end of the video. If you are subscribed, again, thank you 100 times over for subscribing to the channel. If not, I would highly recommend hitting the subscribe button and checking out the new content that I'll be having out for this series, as well as all of my other videos that I have. Um, and yeah, definitely drop a like if this video helped you. It helps me get into the eyes of more people. Yeah, and thanks for watching. I'll catch you in the next video.